Hi everyone, hope everyone's well. This is my unboxing of Norman Conquests from GMT Games. This was quite an impulsive buy from myself. I happen to have been reading about the Normans in history. I saw this on Second Chance Games, so I thought, why not? Been a while since I've played one of the Men of Iron series of games. This is volume number 5. We'll have a look at the back of the box. We'll have a look at all the components, the counters, the maps, the rulebooks, etc. So on the back, we have our game contents listed. Three 22 by 34 game maps. Two are back printed. Two quarter sheets of 9/16 counters. Three player aids. Rulebook, battlebook, 10-sided dice. Complexity is slightly the lower side of medium. Solitaire suitability is rated as high. It looks like you get a range of different battles. So we have Evesham, Hastings, Stamford Bridge, and a few that I'm less familiar with. So I shall be researching into some of those. 2-player. I'll probably be playing. I would imagine I'll be playing this solitaire if I am being honest, but we'll see. But all very nicely laid out. Very clear, quite thematic with the logo. I probably should have said as well. I really do like the cover art. In fact, it was the cover art that you should never judge a book by its cover, of course. And even though I'm an artist, and I would never say just to buy games based on the cover art, I do like this cover art a lot. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Oh, that looks great." Love to play a game about the Normans. So yeah, I went for it. So let's open the box and see what you get. So this is the contents of the actual box. We've got our rules manual, and we'll have a look at that in detail in a second. We have our battle book, which I would imagine would be the list of scenarios and some examples of play by the look. Nice paper, rulebook from GMT as you'd expect. Player aids, looks like it's gate folded, so it opens up. Very nice. I'll have a look at those. 2 of those. More player aids. A flight point track there, general track. Single-sided, that one. Okay, then we're into our counters. We'll have a closer look at the counters. But initial impressions look very nice, as you'd expect from GMT. They're going to need counter clipping, I would think. Very nice. We'll have a closer look at the counters. But we get they're the sheets of counters, and then the maps themselves. Not going to open them up here on this bit. We'll have a look at some of the maps, and 3 maps like so. So let's make a start with the rule book. Looks to be 28 pages in total, which includes the introduction, special rules, index, and some changes from the original editions of the games, I guess, in the series, and an extended sequence of play. So this, straight away, normal GMT fair rulebook. Nothing wrong with that, of course. Nicely laid out, full colour. We've got a description of the different counters that we get. Cavalry, heavy cavalry, knights, mounted men at arms, etc. In terms of cavalry counters, longbow, men at arms, pike, levies, etc. As you'd expect. Descriptions of all of those. Nicely laid out, spacious. I will be obviously reading through the rule book. Been a while since I've played a game in the Men of Iron series. I didn't buy the tri-pack, which I often do kick myself. I have played some of the games before the tri-pack came out, but it's been quite a while. Stacking rules, shock phase. We've got colour coded sections. Yeah, it's definitely going to need a sit down and an extensive read. I don't remember this game series being particularly complex, I would say. And my impressions of it are that it is probably sort of the lower side of medium complexity, I would say. but that is from experience a long time ago. So that's one of the reasons I picked this one up. Got some nice thematic art in here. Some special rules, not too many of those by the looks of it. Some rules for the shield wall. That'll be interesting. Also more special rules here for the knights, Sudanese archers, levies, more special rules. Oh, that's cool. That's great. And then a very handy index along with the credits, as well as some changes from original editions of the game. Yeah, manual. The rulebook looks really nice. Extended sequence of play on the back, which is very handy. Rulebook looks nice, exactly as you would expect from GMT. Here we have the battle book. This looks to be, again, more nice artwork. Very thematic. Looks like to be the description of all the different scenarios, battles that you can play, sorry, I should probably say. Deployment rules. We've got a battle here in Italy, the 18th of June, 1053. Well, that's interesting. We've got a picture of the map. I guess that's first setup. Very nice. Fulford in Yorkshire, which is where some of my family is originally from. But from Yorkshire. It's very nice. Again, we've got details of the deployment for the Saxon army, the Norwegian army, and by the look of it, deployment on the map to help, which is very welcome. Very welcome here. We have a bibliography for this specific battle. I do like bibliographies, I've said in many videos, as well as playing multiple war games across multiple periods of history. My other weakness in life, well, I call it weakness if you like, is books. I do like reading history books. I have hundreds of them. This looks great. Stamford Bridge, I know well, in Yorkshire. I live near the town of Stamford. It's not anywhere near the battle though. So that looks good. Norwegian reinforcements again. It's the same sort of format. Hastings. My initial impression straight away, it looks very readable. It's nicely laid out. Looks very clear. Time will tell when I get the game set up on the table, but looks great. You get one of the things I was impressed with this game when I looked at the details, was that you clearly get quite a lot of battles in the game, which is great, and some of them I am familiar with some of those I am not, and I enjoy that because it gives me an opportunity to learn about the history, do a bit of historical research before I play the game, and often after as well, which I enjoy. For me, I enjoy that sort of connection between war games and the history. Then we have Evesham in Worcestershire, of course. Yes, looks very good. And then we've got a full example of play. Depending on the game, often I will play through the example of play with the map and counters in front of me and literally go through exactly what the example of play. I find that for me really helps my understanding of the game. And then we get another extended sequence of play on the back of the rulebook, so very welcome. Looks great, as you'd expect from GMT. Looks exactly, if you're familiar with GMT games, this sort of follows that same format, and very nicely done. Let's have a look at the counters. So this is our smaller counter sheet. The first thing I look at counter sheets are how readable they are from a distance. I do wear reading glasses when I'm playing war games. The eyesight has deteriorated as I've got older, but they instantly look very readable. Looks very clear, both the colour banding and the numerics on the counters. Very nice. Just turn these over, have a look at the back. Look very nice. Very nice indeed. GMT games often have very high quality counters. They will need clipping. I'm not going to punch them just yet. but they definitely will need clipping. So we've got more gameplay counters here, and the actual unit, I'll call them unit counters here for the sake of argument. And again, look very nicely done. And let's have a look at these here. Here we've got some Norwegians, some Saxons, and Normans here as well. The red counters on the previous sheet are described as royalists. One of the things I'll also have a look at is the cut, so the trim, and it looks very clean. None of the counters are being cut in a way that spoils their sort of aesthetic or, most importantly, the gameplay purposes. Looks very nicely cut, well finished. 2.5, not quite 2.5 sheets, 2.25 sheets. Going to take a little bit of time just to punch all these and clip them, but they look really nice. I like the thematic artwork on the actual counters. Yeah, they look great. Looking forward to punching these, getting these on. I think they look great on the map as well. So we'll have a look at the maps next. So I picked this map to show. This is the Battle of Hastings map. It's one of the more visually interesting, I would describe, maps in the game. The nature of this historic period is that the maps are quite devoid of too many terrain types, points of interest, etc. This one is, on first look, seemingly the one that has the most amount of terrain features. There's one map in particular that almost has nothing. That's not a criticism, that's just because of the nature of the historic period. What I like about these style of GMT maps, they're very playable. It's very clear, the contents of the hex, very clear. I can instantly look at this and understand excuse me, the terrain type in the content of those hexes. What I would say, the playable space is a little bit smaller. This is map, I've just got some of it off camera. Off camera you can't see it. There is a description of the terrain chart, etc., as you'd expect. The actual playable space isn't the full size map. It's probably sort of just over 3/4. So there's plenty of space on the map for counters and things like that. It is paper. It's a nice GMT paper stock, as you would expect. This will be played under Plexi. I don't think you can get mounted maps for this game from GMT. I don't think so. If you can, please put something in the comments. I'm happy to play under Plexi. I play most of my games under Plexi. Video and filming them is quite hard because of the flare from the lights. There's a little bit of flare here on the map. I've got one light here on at the minute. But the map looks great. It is what it is. It's not fussy. It's functional, but aesthetically, the tonal changes are quite pleasing to the eye. It's not obtrusive. I think the counters will pop nicely because of the colouring of the counters. So I think they'll look great on the maps. I also just want to talk about these maps as well. So in the game, you get 2 maps that are large format. I'll call them normal GMT format, the large maps. Then you also get this map sheet, which is split into 2, with each map being specific to one of the battles. And this is double-sided. So you basically get 4 smaller map battles in the game. And then I'm going to go out on a limb and say 3 larger map battles in the game. This is and when I say large, I mean it's still a single map. So for those of us who play a lot of war games, some of us only have space for what we call one map games. This is comfortably a 1 map game. And if you are shorter on space or time, normally you would expect the smaller maps games to be quicker to play. It's not always the case, of course. What I do like about this is that with a couple of smaller maps, there are often times that I use another table to play a war game on. It's smaller. I don't have so much physical space, so the physical footprint of the game on the table is smaller. I welcome that. I think that's a great addition from a player. usability point of view. And this is also a good example of what I was talking about earlier. This battle here, which I'm not going to try and pronounce. My French is terrible. But this is one of the French battles, and this is this literally is the map. There's absolutely no features on it whatsoever. It's devoid of any feature whatsoever. That is, again, not a criticism. It is the nature of the historic period in which this game takes place. This is Stamford Bridge. Again, pretty devoid of any features. We've got some roads. We have the River Derwent, and we have the bridge. That's it. And one of the things I do like about this historical period, and just this sort of period in general, is that for me it's a welcome addition just to play something that has that more clean visual look, and in keeping with the aesthetic of the period. I'm going to turn the map over. I do apologise for doing this on camera. And the same is true of the other side. We can just see if I move the map about. Again, the other side of the map, double-sided. Again, we get two smaller maps for two, I'll just say, smaller battles. It may be that there's more counters on these than some of the larger maps. I don't know yet because I've not played it, but it demonstrates the point. So if you're shorter on physical space, you have at least 4 battles here that are what I would describe as half map size. And that would be great because I often will enjoy playing those smaller games, maybe in an evening, I can imagine. So yeah, but the maps, again, they look great, nicely done. The GMT paper maps I've never had any issues with, and the print looks very, very good, very clean. The aesthetics very readable, and as I said, the counters will really pop on these maps. So overall impressions on the unboxing, it's very good. The rulebooks look great, very nicely laid out. The graphic design consistently very high. The counters look really nice. I think they'll really stand out on the maps. The maps look nicely done. They are very functional, as I described when we looked at the maps. There's nothing wrong with that. They'll definitely make your focus will be on the for the most part on the counters themselves, which I enjoy. All the player aids, again, very nicely laid out, very clear. A lot of time and effort and care has been clearly put into these. Very usable, very friendly to the player. So thank you for all that. That's definitely going to help for me, relearning this game system, because it's been a while. I'm very much looking forward to getting it to the table. It definitely looks like, for the money that you pay for this game, you get an awful lot of content. There's a lot of different battles to play. I will definitely do a full review, once I've punched all the counters and been through and played all the different battles. I think the more I think about it, especially with some of those battles that are on the smaller maps, I will see if I can play some 2-player games as well as playing the game solitaire, and very much looking forward to that. So yeah, looks great. I'm really happy with this. Can't wait to get it to the table. Not a historic period that I have wargamed too much, so I'm looking forward to going through that learning process with both the mechanics and maybe picking up a couple of books and learning more about some of the history, some of these battles that I know a lot less about. So looking forward to that as well. So hopefully that was of use if you're thinking about picking this game up. Like I said, once I've played through everything, then I'll do a full review. But yeah, initial impressions looks great, as you'd expect from GMT.